uh, and probably what I was planning on going live with. I'm gonna alter just a little bit, um, because with everything that's been going down, obviously there's so much, right? Um, I really wanted to talk about and just bring us back to what is it that we can actually do? And, what we're seeing right now going on, the majority of us w- really can't do anything about it. At least that's how I feel. I'm outside of making the phone calls to my representatives every day. My one representative, of course, and then my two senators, and then sending weekly emails and sending weekly faxes, and then getting out when I can to protest and to join the protests, which I'm doing when I can do that. Um, Besides that, what can I do to really affect what's going on? And I think a lot of people feel that. And yesterday and today, it really hit me hard. And I felt, um, I guess I would say I felt a heaviness. I would probably say a slight, I'd probably say depression. Um, and what's really important is that we we all collectively don't get looped into all this fear, because I know yesterday when I started to feel low and depressed, easily, my energy, right, was more open. And insert any word that you want there if energy is a triggering word for you, but that's the word I use. My energy became available to all the fear that's 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 in the atmosphere right now collectively. And I I started feeling a lot of panic and a lot of fear. And I really had to spend, and that's one of the reasons I didn't get on live this morning, because I really had to spend my time today in between working talking myself off the ledge. And I have done, I mean, like I've said before, I'm an EFT specialist, EFT tapping specialist, which is emotional freedom technique, and it rewires your brain neurology. And tons of research on it, MRIs, CAT scans, um, that you can go and do the research. If you go to my Facebook page, you can see it there. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. I need that. I mean, we all need that, right? And so I've been doing, anyway, I was saying, I've said in other lives that I've been doing EFT tapping on myself and on my kids like it's a job, just to keep us a little bit above the fray, right? And this today, and usually I only have to do my typical like 20 minutes of EFT tapping on myself, and I can stay pretty balanced through the day and not get sucked in and not allow my energy to be available to the fear. And I couldn't do that today. And so I had to, and it's because I was feeling low, depressed yesterday. And then it just made me available to this fear. And so I had to spend, I mean, like, I've probably spent 90 minutes throughout the day, which is a lot, um, because I'm doing EFT every day, just doing EFT today, just to get myself where I wasn't like wanting to doom scroll. I wasn't feeling like all is lost. There's nothing I can do. How do I contribute? Especially with the murder of Renee and this ass hat backwards pedophile fascist regime investigating Renee and not the cold-blooded murderer. I mean, all of that is such a magnifying glass on this whole fascist regime. And they're really in the minority. That's what really pisses me off because we're the majority, but because collectively the majority is not comfortable enough to stand up against this minority that is trying to make us the next Nazi Germany. And um, I really have faith it's not going to go that far. I really have faith that they're going to tumble. I really do. But what do we do? Just individually when we have those low days, because I know everyone's having them. And when we feel that depression that allows that fear in. Well, one thing that I realized that I was doing today that was really helping me was that I was focusing on what I could control, right? And what I could control was excuse me, um, where I spent my money. And I needed some things for my daughter. She is a pet sitter. That's her side gig. And she's at a pet sitting gig and she needed a few items. And it would have been a lot easier for me to order from King Soopers or order from Walmart and just have it sent to her and just not think about, okay, this one time, or Amazon even. Oh, this is one time, I'll just do it. And I sat there and I looked at my apps and I'm like, but that contributes. That's me contributing to this fascist regime by choosing convenience over what is right. And so instead, I got in my car and I made a trip to our local owned grocery store called Esh. And then I had to make a trip to Trader Joe's too. So I had to make 2 stops and then I delivered it to her instead of someone else delivering it. And I felt good after I did it. Even though it was a time suck and it interrupted my day, the reason it made me feel good was that it was the way that I could contribute because I actively today removed my dollars from this corrupt economy, these monopolies like King Soopers and Walmarts, and Amazon, and I removed my dollars from the billionaires' pockets and these corrupt corporations. And it was just a little act, but it's what I could control and it's what I could do today. So I wanted to share my story tonight, um, just to say, focus on what you can do in the moment. Okay, you're making the phone calls, you're doing the postcards, you're doing the emails, you might be doing internet faxing. That's what I do to specifically our governor, who is a horrible governor. Um, and then try to just focus on the next thing that you can do that would move you forward in removing your dollars from this economy. Don't be an autopilot. Don't stay in comfort because convenience is comfort. Break out of that. That's collectively how we build our power. And then what you need to do is remove your labor from this economy. Now, I've already removed my labor from this economy and I did it several years ago because I've already been a entrepreneur and I appreciate the freedom I get from it. I'm a serial entrepreneur. Um, I wanted to also just kind of tell my story about that. Um, so I got married. My career was in corporate and I ran a web division. I started a web division for a publicly owned utility in Missouri and I built it from scratch and I ran that web division. I was over a budget, I think it was around $1 million at that time budget, which was a lot. This would have been in the 90s. Is that right? No, I'm sorry. The early 2000s. Um, Late 90s, early 2000s. And I had employees, so I did the whole shebang. And then I got married to my husband and we started a family. And when I gave birth to my son, I decided, no, this isn't what I'm going to do. I want to be with my son. And we had already talked, my husband and I, that we wanted to have someone staying at home, one of us. And I really wanted to be the one to stay home. And we were really um, easy with money between us. So it wasn't, I'm the man and I'm going to go work. It wasn't ever like that. So it was easy for me to transition out of corporate, and I was able to do like, because I had a good reputation, it was easy for me to pick up like making people's websites and managing them like as gig, why I was like little gig projects as, I had this newborn. And during our baby moon, my husband and I decided, let's start our own business. We would be great consultants. And so we got in. My husband was a nurse by trade, but he was on the tech side as well. And we worked with Cerner. And so we did Cerner installs and consulted with that. It was very lucrative for us. And we did that until he died. And he died very suddenly in 2014. And when he died, I couldn't do his part because I did all the marketing and the contracts and, all of that. And so that I could stay home with the babies. And he did the traveling and the on site computer configurations and programming that was required at that time with Cerner. So we were in the hospital field and it was great, but I had to end it when he died. And then I took several years off because financially I could. And I just focused on the kids and because the kids were very young when he died. My daughter was 5, my son was 9. And I just focused on intense grief therapy. And we did the whole gamut. And we lived in Boulder, Colorado, and it was, there was just a lot available at that time. It's not available now in this area, but at that time in Boulder, but at that time it was. And then in 2017, late 2017, I started my own boutique social media business, and I did social media, email marketing, and website design, publication, and maintenance, right? I did the whole thing. And I could really only do 5 clients because they wanted the whole package: email marketing, social media marketing, and website. And so really 5 clients, and that was like 50 hours a week, really, and sometimes even more. So that really topped me out as just an individual social media marketing business. And I was getting ready to hire some people on when COVID hit. So I ended up not doing that. And my business actually did well during COVID. And then there was the Marshall wildfire that destroyed my home and my business in Boulder. And after that, I had to liquidate. It was just different, right? And I can do another live about being a natural disaster survivor and what the reality of it is actually surviving it. Um, because that first year you're just running on adrenaline, and the second year you hit rock bottom. I did, my kids did, because our adrenals were taxed, and in we were coming out of shock, and we were in trauma, and it was very difficult. And so 2023 through 2025 were very difficult years for us, emotionally. And then because of that, financially became difficult for us. And in 2023, late 2023, I started taking classes online courses, because I decided I didn't have the capital like I did before to start a social media business. and or to restart it. I didn't have the capital for it. So, and I've had to use everything to just like, replace, because you're replacing every single thing from toothpicks and underwear, spices, just things you don't even think about. You just naturally have over a course of time. All of a sudden, you have nothing, and you have to replace everything. It's very traumatic, and of course, we're in an inflation. Prices start skyrocketing now, these tariffs, it's just been such a shit show. So at the end of 2023, I started taking these courses because I had knowledge gaps on how to actually do digital product marketing. And I decided that was the direction I needed to go um, to start an income. And it's actually been more difficult to start this business. My business is called Be Your Worth. And the main reason is because I'm coming off the Marshall Fire. And so I've had to deal with trauma on top of starting a new business. But the other reason why is because of all this government turmoil and TikTok shutting down last January, for example. Because like my business was starting to really take off, and then TikTok shut down, and boom, it like really impacted me. It impacted a lot of small businesses. And it really pisses me off. There's no accountability that the government can just do that. I understand why TikTok did it, because it was the pressure from the shit show regime, but it's irresponsible, and I'm really angry about it. And I want accountability. But just so that you know my story, right? That when I tell you that remove your labor, I mean, I've done it. I'm a product of that. And it's blood, sweat, and tears, and it takes work. But you can do it. If I did it after my husband died, and then I did it again after I lost my house and my business in a natural disaster, you can do it. If you've lost your job. Oh, really? Hmm. So Stand Up 12 says, I noticed TikTok videos are not loading here for me today. I'm suspicious whenever there's something going on like that on social. And that reminds me, I do want to talk about the landscape of social in just a second. But I am an authority on this kind of stuff in the sense that I've done it several times. I know what works. And so I actually used that course information to start my EFT tapping business, which is called the Tapping Lab. And I offer 90-minute sessions with me via Zoom or in person if you live in Northern Colorado, because we moved up to Northern Colorado from Boulder after we lost our home. We actually lost our home in Boulder, then we moved to Louisville for 3 years, and now we moved up here because living in the natural disaster area was just so triggering, and it just kept triggering us and triggering us. So it was just really emotionally hard in that area to stay. Like, and the memories coming back of it, like we just kept remembering what we lost, right? And then Excel, that's another story, but Excel is a corrupt electric company that is investor owned. And my corporate career was with an electric company, but that was privately owned. And the shit that Excel gets away with and what they do is because they're investor owned, and it's criminal. And plus, I really think we should be able to choose what electric company we want to use. But I can tell you more about, that's another story I can also talk about, is electric companies. But anyway, so I started my tapping business, and then I decided, okay, I'm going to monetize another skill set. And so I decided, I can monetize my knowledge in social media, email marketing, how to start a business, because I'm good at doing that. And so I have a course, the beginnings course. And I went through it the other day, where it's 20 modules. There are multiple module lessons in each module. It's all video based. You get 200 hours of video. And I go through all the technical pieces so you don't get like, I don't know how to do that. And then you have to go and look it up somewhere else. Nope. I'm not a gatekeeper. And I'm never going to do upsells. And when I do add new material to the course, which I will do eventually, this year for sure, um, because I'd like to really add a module on Blue Skies and a module on Skylight Social and probably even a module on Substack. But I do have a whole section on blogging and how to do it. And it really kind of tells you, kind of touches on Substack, but it's not about the Substack platform. It's about blogging in general because you can do that on the Medium. You could do it on, there's several other platforms as well besides Substack. So anyway, um, my course isn't fluff. So I call it the beginnings course because it lays the foundation solid. You do that course and you will have a solid business that you can start marketing, and you will have, I teach you how to get into your niche. I teach you how to monetize your skill set, how to set up school if you want to teach a class. And so through Friday, because I offered this last week because it was something like, how can I do to help people really just get real and remove their labor from this corrupt economy? Because that's really what we need to do. Our control is the purse. It really is. And there's no such thing as government money. Government money is our money. And so how do we control that? How do we take that control back? And we remove our labor, we remove our dollars. And so through until Friday, if you when you when you pay for my subscription on Substack, so I have a paid subscription side. It's $40 for the year. You get my beginnings course for free for life. And it is a manual process. I don't have that automated because it's such a very specific offering, and it ends on Friday. Um, so I do that manually. So when you subscribe to my paid side of Substack, $40, it takes me 24 hours to get the email to you and your passcode to the beginnings course. Now, my paid side of Substack that you'd be paying for $40 is for a year. My course that you'll get for free is for your life. And there's no more extra costs, no more upsells. You paid $40 and you got my course for free. And you have until Friday to take advantage of that offer. And I'm really hoping more of you do. There were a lot of you that took advantage of it last week. There were several people that said they couldn't do it by Friday of last week. So I extended it because of everything that's going on. And it's like, how can I give back? How can I help? And this is one way that I can do it. After Friday, you can use my link that's in my bio, and my course is still available. I sell it for $195. So this is a really good opportunity to get that course and start. Just start. So I want to talk about the landscape of social. So we have all enjoyed, because it goes back to that whole convenience. We really like convenience. We really like to be comfortable here in America. And social media has lulled us into, oh, we give it to you for free, and you get to have this beautiful social connection that you build on this platform, whatever it is. Instagram, TikTok, Meta, well, Meta's Instagram, but Facebook, Lemon, I never got on that one. There's a couple of others too. LinkedIn, Substack, that's kind of the main players. Twitter, and now it's Blue Skies and Skylight Social. You get on here for free. Well, what's the catch, right? Well, most people didn't read the term of service, right? But the term of service is very specific that you get on here for free and we get to take all of your data and we own everything you post, your words, your pictures, your videos. And not only that, like Facebook Messenger, it actually, when you get on Facebook Messenger, no matter where you are, it actually captures all the other Wi-Fis and phones and any device that's connected to the same Wi-Fi you are. It actually captures all of those and records them and starts, and that's scary in a school, right? But it's really scary anywhere. Facebook is Meta is the worst at capturing data, and they blamed TikTok. TikTok wasn't doing what they were blamed for, and why the government went after them. The government needed to be going after Meta. But of course, their billionaire, Mark Zuckerberg, has his hand in pedophile Trump's pocket. So there you go. Just got to follow the money. And TikTok was not playing the pedophile Trump game. And so now Larry Ellison bought it. And Larry Ellison he's in the Epstein files. He's a pedophile. He is a billionaire. He's just as fucked up as all the rest of them are, just like Elon Musk. Different degrees and different things that they've got their fingers in, but they're still fucked up. And they're nasty people. And they think they know what's better for you and for me because they're billionaires and they don't know. And they need to be out of existence. We need to tax them out of existence for sure. But the landscape of social is going to change as this fascist regime falls. Obviously, we're seeing free speech taken away. But what's going to, on the other side of it, because Skylight Social and Blue Skies, they are built on an API protocol. And what that means is that you own your data and no one person can own them. And the government can't come in and fuck around with them. So it kind of, it safeguards them from Trump and it safeguards them from billionaires in the climate that we're in. But when we get on the other side of this fascist regime, what's gonna be different is that you're gonna have to pay to play. And people are gonna be like, no, it's all been free. It hasn't been free. You've given up your data. That's not freedom. You were tricked. And people thought, well, but we got on the platforms for free. No, you didn't really. You paid with your data, with your information, with your personal life. You paid with that. That was your currency. I know I'm not willing to pay with that anymore. Oh, YouTube. That's another social platform that's free to get on. And when this fascist regime falls, no one's going to be willing to pay for that. Because I think people are starting to realize the digital coup that happened a year ago, that Elon Musk stole all our data and how insidious it is with what he and Peter Thiel are doing with it. And as these structures collapse, which they are going to collapse, social media is going to get locked down in such a way that people aren't going to give away their data anymore. They're not going to sign those contracts. And so that's all going to go away. And in order for social media, in order for a platform to make money, because they make money off of our data, besides all the creepy stuff they do with it, and Meta is the worst. The term of service is going to read where we get to keep our data and we get to keep our assets that we have on the platform because we're paying to be on the platform. And so I'm talking about this now because I'm wanting people to get used to the concept. Excuse me. Get used to the concept that you're going to have to pay to be on social media at some point in the future. I don't know if that's going to be 6 months from now, if it's going to be a year from now. I would love it to be 6 months if this fascist regime could break up and go to hell. Yeah, they're both left-leaning owned. So Blue Skies is owned by a woman named, or is not owned. Actually, neither one of them are owned. You own your data on both of the platforms because they're based on this API protocol that's an open source protocol. And so Blue Skies um, has a CEO, a woman CEO named Jay, but it was developed by the guy, and I'm blanking on his name right now. One of you all might know it, but the guy that made Twitter, he made Blue Skies, then said, "This is going to be, open source, and I'm not going to be the CEO." And then this woman named Jay's the CEO. Now on Skylight Social, it's still in the process of being built. It's amazing what these two people, Tori and I'm trying to remember her partner, but the two of them are building it basically. And they just started in last January, 2025. And they are being financed by Jack Dorsey. Yes, thank you. Oh, you're welcome, M. Hope. And Michael, thank you. Jack Dorsey is the guy who made Twitter, and he also made Blue Skies, and then he stepped away. And Mark Cuban is the billionaire who's financing Skylight Social. He doesn't own it. He's just giving them the money to build it. And if you get on TikTok, I think she might even be on Instagram, but obviously she's on Blue Skies and Skylight Social. Her name is Build with Tori, and she's very transparent about what's going on. They talk about all their bugs. They just did a huge update, which has made it even better. But they're working hard to make it a good app. And basically, Skylight Social replaces TikTok and Blue Skies replaces Twitter. I love both of them. I think they're great apps. Skylight Social is just starting to it's only got like 350,000 people on it right now. And as TikTok gets more locked down, and because they're wanting, all these names, I'm forgetting them. The guy that just bought Larry Ellison, he is wanting to isolate because that's what the regime wants, right? And he's part of the regime. He wants to isolate America off on TikTok on a different app, even maybe called M. I don't really understand how that's a play because I'm not going to do it, so I haven't been investigating it. But basically, he wants to isolate TikTok away from the rest of the world because the whole thing that the regime, this pedophile fascist regime, wants to do is isolate America. And so I'm going to stay on TikTok. I do go live on TikTok. I don't post right now at all on TikTok. I haven't for quite a while. Maybe like 4 or 5 months I haven't posted. Yeah, I don't think Skylight Social and Blue Skies, they can't block out. I don't know about Substack. Substack is owned by a billionaire. It is not being locked down. It is not being censored. Blue Skies and Skylight Social are not censored. Those are the only 3 platforms that I know of that are not censored. At all the other platforms, because they're all the other platforms are billionaire pedophiles, regime owners, right? Because Mark Zuckerberg went to Jeffrey Epstein's Isle and he's in the files. Elon Musk in the files. Larry Ellison in the files. I'm not sure about the guy who runs Google because they own YouTube. So, which really blows. But Google is definitely in the pocket of this fascist regime. I'm trying to ditch Apple, and I mean, there's just not really another good solution. If anybody has a good solution to a different phone, I mean, Samsung is Google. But both Google and Apple are disgusting fascist corporations that are just greed, and I would love to get out from under them. I mean, Apple was behind, is it Huawei? It was a phone that I wanted, and Apple got them banned in the United States, saying, "Oh, China takes all our data." I mean, that's the whole line that the billionaires have gotten the American public to believe, and it's not true. It was Meta that was taking all our data, and then Apple didn't want the competition because this phone is better than Apple, right? Apple really pretty well sucks. Like, I have tons of friends who updated on to iOS 26 and their phone got hosed. I didn't update. Um, and I'm not gonna update this phone. So, that's, I've been on here for about 30 minutes. And, I just wanted to kinda touch base. I don't know, I'm trying to find when is the best time for most people. I don't know if I should vary it, like, one night could do it at nighttime. Okay, good, yeah. I really don't recommend updating because they have not fixed the bugs. Plus, there's some, what I understand, some, data, like, you can't, if you do the update, it takes more of your data that you can't shut it down on Apple. Okay, wait. So V for Violet, I'm not sure who are, okay, are you responding to what she said about the blackout? And you're saying we just go back to how we organized before the internet. Yeah, I don't know how well that would work, V for Violet. Um, I don't think I don't think removing technology is the solution. I think getting billionaires out of technology is the solution. Um, I know my life. I have ADHD and before computers, because I went to college before computers, right? Were networked. So I had a standalone computer that was basically just a word processor. Um, but it didn't do my calendar. It, didn't do anything that we have now. I got so much more productive and so much, I mean, just my life just bloomed when the Palm Pilots came out. I don't know if anybody remembers a Palm Pilot, but it completely organized me. And I loved that company. I was always so sad that they just mismanaged and went under. I would love Palm Pilots to come back. And they had a phone. They were getting into the phone industry. They were kind of like Blockbuster. They weren't riding the wave correctly, and the wave overtook them. Ah, okay. Yes. Yeah. Um, if there was a blackout, just for a temporary time of going back to manual. Yeah, I don't think tech is setting the world on fire. I think the billionaires are setting the world on fire. I think makes tech makes my life easier. Um, Tech helps me create community like we are doing right now here. Tech has led me to have an independent lifestyle where I've been an entrepreneur for the last 20 years. Technology enabled that for me. Without technology, I wouldn't have been able to do it. And with technology, it's enabled me to homeschool at a higher level than I probably ever would have been able to do with my kids. There's just so many benefits to technology that I don't think I'll never say it's a negative. It's the players that are a negative. Billionaires need to be taxed out of existence. Billionaires are always a cancer on our society. I mean, for the last 10 years, economists, I follow economists, several economists on podcasts, and they've been sounding the alarm saying we've got 2 million billionaires. When we start having this many billionaires, it's a sign our economy is going to collapse because billionaires always equal wealth hoarding. Always. 100 years ago, just study history, right? In the 1920s, same thing was going on. Um, Yeah, I do agree with you, V for Violet, that I do think we do need to go old school on a lot of things. Like, I am doing a tech downgrade. I'm going back to DVDs and I'm going back to CDs because Spotify is, an ice. They're running ice ads and they're I mean, I'm not into that, and I love Spotify. Cut it off. My kids cut it off very painfully. We're going back to not we're not using iPods, but we're going back to MP3 players. We're going back to DVD. I said that DVD, maybe Blu-ray combo. That's what I bought. And then we're going to start collecting now because I had a fire and I lost everything in 2021. I have to start from scratch, but probably most of you have DVDs and CDs. We had a huge library in our house of CDs and DVDs, and I'm devastated now that we lost all of that. I mean, after the fire, I just didn't think about it. Like, oh, it's not that big a deal that we lost all those CDs and DVDs. Now I'm just like, oh my God, so huge. Yeah, no one does. I mean, billionaires are always extracting from people. They're extracting labor is their number one thing. That's why we need to remove our labor. If you go and read about the 1920s, and we're talking the Rockefellers, the Vanderbilts, the Firestones, um, if you go read about those people, they bluntly say, right, because their issue was that they were trying to get people out of the country and into their factories, right? To be factory workers and to get into this 8 to 5 schedule because that wasn't happening yet, really. And that's what they wanted because they wanted to extract labor. And there are tons of news articles, newspaper articles, not video, but newspaper articles and writings about how they were saying it was such good business because they were extracting labor, right? Well, that's exactly the same thing they're doing now, is that it's extracting our labor, right? And that's why we actually don't have a human shortage that Elon Musk and these people keep going on about, these billionaires. We actually have a surplus of people because and here's the funny thing, right? Wait a minute. Yeah, we the people must stand together. I agree. Thank you, Blue G. Yes. Stand Up 12. Oh, I heard they stopped because people canceled them. You mean they stopped doing the ads for ICE? Um, they're still running. I heard they canceled some ads. Now, I got on Blue Sky. I got on no, it's like I'm talking too many apps. I'm wanting to look at my phone, but I'm doing the video with my phone. I got on Spotify and I saw an ad as soon as I got on it. So I just immediately got back, deleted the app, logged out, deleted the app because I had seen, I think it's called the Woke Ginger. Do you guys follow him? He's great. The Woke Ginger had said that they had stopped running the ads, but there was something else they were doing supporting ICE. And so I just got on real quick. I downloaded the app and logged back in, and immediately I saw an ad for ass for ICE. And so I don't know Stand Up 12. Um Yes, M-Hope, Monsters. Oh, V for Violet, I'm jelly. I wish I had all my DVDs and CDs. Don't get rid of them, and if you do, contact me. Spotify, yes. Um, yeah, so, I mean, so to your point, V for Violet, is that I am doing a tech downgrade. So, like, I've canceled all my subscriptions except for Netflix. I do have Netflix because they gave to Palestine and they also gave to California, so I still do have I deleted Netflix and then I got back on. If they do any if they do any hanky-panky stuff, I'm back off of them. But we don't have any other subscriptions. And, I'm using the library a lot. I'm gonna post a video, I mean, a picture, but the place that there's 3 things that I'm using right now to download. I still don't quite one's Canopy, one starts with an H, another one starts with a K too. I can't ever remember them right now. I still like learning them, right? And there is a learning curve, uh, so I can download because I cut the cord with Audible and with Kindle. And so I can do that through the library. But they also have a Netflix where you can, it's Netflix like, where you can watch Hoopla, Canopy. Yes, Hoopla and Canopy. And then there's a third one. Um, but you can stream movies. It's not Netflix. The interface is different. You just got to get used to different stuff, right? So I'm utilizing the library. Please use your libraries because they were really trying, this pedophile fascist regime was really trying to come after libraries and then backed off. Um, and libraries, we've got to keep them sacred. They are a source, right, of everything. Um, if you guys don't know, you can also rent passes to all museums through the library. And I mean like for free. I think most libraries allow you to do it once a quarter. So we go to our art museum, Denver Nature of Science, and History. We do the Molly Brown House in Denver. We do the Fire Station House. There's several other things that we do too, and we just get the passes because you can get up to 12, I think. It might not be 12, it might be 8. We do the zoo. We can do all of that for free through the library. And you can do that too locally. It's not just here in Colorado. The library, whew, I've gotten turned on to so much stuff at the library that I did not realize was available to me. So use your local library. That's another way that we remove our dollars from this economy, right? Remove your labor, remove your dollars. And if this whole thing, I know that I people are getting on the bandwagon of, yeah, we've got to stop buying stuff and we've got to start buying local, buy from independent creators like myself, buy from, you want to learn something, go online and find someone who's teaching that and purchase from them because that keeps the money with the people and it keeps the money in communities. When you purchase stuff from these big box stores and from like the Starbucks, you're lining the billionaires' pockets and you're keeping the greed going with these corrupt corporations. The way you remove it is you go local, you go small, and you go independent, right? And you can do that online and in person. Oh, cool. So V for Violet says she found one of her favorite foreign films on Canopy. Oh, that's amazing. Is that on YouTube? Yeah, I do watch some things on YouTube. Like I'm a huge Robert Redford fan, so I was so sad when he died. And I went and watched a couple of his movies for free on YouTube. And it was like they had a couple ads, but I didn't care. Um, Although I think ads on streaming is really weird. Because it's like network TV, which is the whole point of streaming, not to be like network TV. So I do have an issue with it, but I was willing to watch it to watch Robert Redford. That's so cool. Yeah, Canopy's great. If you have not checked out your library, please, 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 please do. Oh, and then okay, so V for Violet is saying, they're in Northern California, and they can check out state park passes at their library. I haven't checked into that. I should check into that. Um, Here in Colorado, when you renew your tags on your car, you can opt for a um, park pass. And so and I do that. So my car tags are actually gets me into any state park in Colorado. And I like that. I think that's pretty cool. So then I don't have to deal with another piece of paper. Um, it's just part of my car tag, um, or license plates, car tags. Um, I think what I was saying was that I really think people are getting, um, more and more savvy at removing their money from this economy. I'm really disappointed at the holidays. We could have really blacked out this economy with the holidays, and it didn't a little bit, but not really. Um, People are just so entrenched in consumerism and not thinking, and so much about wanting to be comfortable. And for most people, traditions are so around. You've got to have a gift, even if it's not what anyone wants. I mean, Facebook Marketplace, I still do what I do on Facebook is I load it onto my phone. I look at Facebook Marketplace, I look at my groups, and then I delete it. But I use it for those 2 things, for Facebook Marketplace and for Facebook groups still. And on Facebook Marketplace, it's been flooded with people posting stuff that, "Oh, I got this as a gift and I didn't want it. I got this as a gift." And it's just like, why do people keep buying people things they don't want? Just stop buying stuff for people at Christmas time and just be together, you know? And I think the consumerism and the gifts, I believe, is a way to keep separation because being together is really not what most people want to do with the people that they do it with during the holidays. I stopped celebrating Christmas and I did a whole series on that last month because I do winter solstice and I've been doing that for about 25 years and I adore it. It's just my kids and I love our traditions and they're not based in consumerism and they're not based about, getting junky gifts for each other and just making, just loading up underneath the winter solstice tree or our stocking. That's not the point. The point is connection and being together and being real. And that's where consumerism really creates this fake connection. Um, there is and I'll get his name, but there's this really amazing someone on here might know him. I watch him on YouTube and TikTok, and he's this amazing professor that talks about the fundamental basics of and challenges, what people are saying this is just normal. And he talks about how capitalism, how it was created, and how the society created poverty. Poverty's not real. It's made up to help invent and lift up capitalism. And it makes so much sense when you listen to him, it just makes so much sense. And it's like, oh, of course. And everybody just bought into it. I know I did for a while. And there are other things that I do. And I'm like, wait, I got to question that. I've got to question that. Um, But I think the harder part is people removing their labor because people are so locked into, I've got to have a job that I work for 40 years and then I get my pension and retire, that they can't lock themselves out of that mentality. And it's so criminal how healthcare has been tied to jobs because Reagan really did that. And that has created this dependency that's artificial that people don't feel they can leave their jobs because of their health care. And that gives all the power to these corrupt corporations. I've had now 6 people. Just a few days ago, it was only 5, but now it's 6. I have 6 tech friends who were making over $250,000 a year, had been at their company for and they're big companies like the Microsofts and the Intels and the Verizons. I'm talking big corporate greedy companies. They'd been there for 29 years and one was 28. But the same difference. Um, they thought the company was loyal to them. And I had conversations with one of them and said, corporations are not loyal to you. Oh, yeah, mine is. I've been there this long. I'm making this much. And oh, yeah, mine is. 2 of them got fired on December 15th, and 3 of them got fired um, the first Monday of January. And then I just had a friend get fired this week. Do you think those people are going to be able to go out and get another check job for 250,000 or more? Not in this economy. And not the way the corporations are so greedy. And they're devastated. They're reeling from this because they're like, but I thought they were loyal to me. Every one of my friends that got fired have said that. These 6. And I'm like, corporations are not loyal to people. Build something that you own, that a government cannot take away from you, and that a greedy corporation cannot take away from you. And that is your own income stream. Now, you have to work it. It's a business. And that's another thing why people are scared about removing their labor. And that's because the billionaires have convinced you that we bring industry, we make jobs, and we make great products. Lie, lie, and lie. And so I want to leave you tonight on the note of focusing on what you can control. And what you can control is removing your dollars from this economy and removing your labor from this economy. I know that if you would get focused on learning and then building your own income stream, your attention would get off of anything that's depressing and anything that is fear mongering. And you'd be focused on something that's positive and generative and bringing money back into the community and into the people's hands, not greedy corporations and not billionaires. I'm not saying don't be informed and put your head, in the sand. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying have more of a balance. So through Friday, purchase my paid Substack, which is $40 for a year. That comes out to like $3.33 a month. You're paying for my paid side of Substack. There's a lot of stuff I put on my paid side of Substack, but you get my course, the beginnings course, for free, and you get it for life when you pay for my paid Substack through this week, through Friday. So that would be $40. If you do it afterwards and you decide, hey, I want your course, the link is in my bio. I sell it for $195. So it's a steal right now for $40. I'm not going anywhere. I'm here. I'm a product of the product. I know my stuff. This is a great course. Tomorrow, I was going to do that tonight, but tomorrow, because I had a lot of DMs just saying, could you just go through the course again? I really want to see everything that would be part of it before I do this. And I'm like, okay. Because I know $40 is a lot still right now for a lot of people. So I don't want to be like, it's only $40 because I don't feel that way at all. So tomorrow morning, I will go through that again and look at the course so that you can see what you're getting, the 20 modules and all the different lessons that's involved. I'm not going to go through and, we're not going to like talk about all the material at a grainier level, but I'll go through high level what's in the course. So I hope you guys have a good evening. Oh, one other thing. really sad that Melissa Gilbert's husband is a pedophile. And I'm really sad that she is hiding it. And, her husband, Tim Busby, I might not be saying his last name correctly. Apparently, before they got married, there was pedophile charges raised against him that it was just like Trump, he paid them off. And now there's these 2 twin boys that have come forward that said that he he did sexual assault towards them, I think 10 years ago. And what's her response? She removes her social media and she's silent. And I've really liked her brand, her lifestyle brand, Modern Prairie, which was a takeoff of Little House on the Prairie, because I really liked Little House on the Prairie. And I'm really disappointed in her. And I'm really disappointed in her saying, it's not right. My husband's a pedophile. Now, selfishly, this has ruined me watching The West Wing, which is one of my favorite shows, because I can't look at him now and watch The West Wing. And I mean, he's a big character in The West Wing. I can't, it's ruined it. So that's very selfish of me. I'm more concerned about the victims, of course. He also ruined 30 something for me. I really like that show. But we have a pedophile problem in the United States, and it's tragic that there are enough people wanting to hide it like this, hurting young children like that. And what these billionaires did with Trump and Jeffrey Epstein, Mar-a-Lago was the center hub for recruiting victims. It's disgusting. And the fact that he's still president is not. Ugh. So I'm gonna leave you on that note. Maybe I shouldn't have mentioned that part to leave it on that note, but that's what gets me really sad. It really is what's happening to and it's still happening, right? Just because we're talking, we're it's in the narrative. These children are still being sexually assaulted as we speak. Children are being sexually assaulted. Remove your labor, remove your dollars. Let's black out this economy. The only way we can do it is withdraw. And we have to do it consistently every day. All right. Thank you all for showing up. I'll be back tomorrow. And if anybody wants to DM me, like, hey, I prefer if you do late night, late night being 9 o'clock Mountain is usually when I could do it in the evenings. And then I try to get on somewhere between 7 and 8 in the morning. I've really tried to do that noon hour, but it's hard for me to do because of my schedule, my kids' schedule. But if there's a preference, let me know. I answer my DMs, I read my DMs. Let's keep building this community. We need each other. We need each other online. We need each other in real person. Thank you all for being here.